I was actually in middle school when the president's health fitness mandate came down, and that caused all of us who were my age and younger and in the public school system to go through this fitness challenge. We had to prove ourselves capable of being physically fit. The PE mandate really began to rise, and I don't think we've seen anything like that at the same level since then, but there was something about that process that taught me the lesson of failing forward long before John Maxwell wrote the book. Welcome to Leading Leaders Podcast, 5-minute videos, 5 days a week. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. I remember the very first time that whole fitness mandate came down and all of us were lined up outside the school around the track and field area. And they made us do shot put, and they made us do long jump, they made us do standing long jump, they made us do running long jump, and they made us do the high jump and the vertical jump. And we all had to try every single thing in the track and field. And then everything was counted and it was measured. And they measured how fast we ran, and they measured how far we could run before we had to walk again. And they measured how many push-ups and pull-ups we could do and whether or not we could climb the rope to the top. And I remember all of the things that they caused us to do for physical fitness evaluation. But the one that really stands out to me when I hear people talk about failing and falling and the idea of failing and falling forward was the very clear picture the first time I did the running long jump. The running long jump, I don't have the body type for being greatly successful in the running long jump. But I would do the running long jump and I would hit that board and I would spring off as far as I could and I would leap out there and I would land with my feet as far as I could get them. But generally I was stretching my feet to get my feet out there as far as they could go and leave the mark. And they would come and they would bring out the measuring tape and they would measure it and they would say, "You jumped so far." And I would look at it and I'm like, "But my feet were over there." They're like, "Yeah, but in the running long jump, the mark that counts is not always where your feet lands. Because if your bottom touches the dirt closer to the jump than your feet, that's the mark. And if you fall backwards and your hands touch the dirt closer to the jump than your bottom or your feet, then that's the mark that counts. And if you fall over completely and your head touches the ground, then it's the mark where your head touches the ground closer to the jump, not your hands, not your backside, and not your feet. So what that really means is all the effort you put into getting your feet way out there doesn't count at all if your momentum doesn't carry you over your feet when you land. If you leap to a place where you can't stand up when you get there, chances are you're going to lose your balance and fall backward and lose all of the forward ground that you gained by leaping. Now, let's translate that into leadership, into business, into parenting, into relationships. How often do you find yourself going into a new project or a new task or a new idea with trepidation? With just a little bit of fear and a little bit of concern that maybe I'm not good enough for this. Maybe I can't actually pull this off. Maybe I won't be good enough to be the best in the world at this thing. And sadly, sometimes it's not the fact that you're not good enough. It's the fear that you're not good enough. That's what really drives the outcome. Often we make decisions in our life based on the fear of our failure. Well, let me tell you what happens when you have fear while you're jumping. You lose your forward momentum. You don't have a plan to land on your feet leaning forward. You don't have a plan that propels you further than you believe you can go. See, your plan has already been cut off by the fear. You're already not doing the things necessary to go further than you think you're capable of. When you begin to plan in a way that you're looking at the current circumstances, you're looking at your own capabilities, you're looking at your own passions and your own belief in yourself, and you're going, not going to make it. I'm not that good. I'm not that talented. I'm not that smart. If you get stuck right there with that kind of belief about you, why jump? But if on the other hand, you can set aside that belief, you can harbor that disbelief and say, you know what? I'm going to get at everything that I can and then a little bit more. I'm going to push a little bit harder than I would normally push. I'm going to be better than myself today. If you realize your straightest competition, your stiffest competition, your best competition is yourself, the other people you're competing against, they don't matter. They'll measure up to themselves or they won't. The question is, will you measure up to yourself? Will you try hard enough to be a better person, to be a better leader, to be more influential in people's lives, to add value to people's lives, to do good things for other people? Will you try harder than yourself, harder than you did last time, harder than you think you can, harder than you believe about yourself? If you will build a plan, craft a strategy, and put in the work that looks like you're 10 times better than you are, even if you fail at that point, you may be 5 times better than you are. You may be 2 times better than you are, but you'll at least be somewhat better than you have been in the past. I know this sounds really esoterical, but I'm telling you, the thing that stands in your way of success is not failure. It's fear of failure. It's not failure. It's the fear of failure. If you're going to fail, if you're going to fall, do it with so much momentum, looking so much further than where you think you're capable, that you can only fall forward. Because let me tell you this, in that running long jump, if you jump and you stick your feet out there 9 feet, and you land on your feet 9 feet, and then you fall forward and you tumble and you roll and you get up covered in sand, where your heel touches at 9 feet, that's the mark that counts. All the tumbling and falling and rolling forward, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because at least your momentum took you the direction you wanted to go and didn't count against you. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.